Hey guys, it's Riley with another all English episode. So my last one, I talked about Sanseizo, and I think I got some positive feedback on it. So I'm glad that kind of went over well. I was a little worried about it. I don't know. I don't think I said anything too crazy, but yeah, hopefully it was interesting to hear. A foreign person, an immigrant's, I guess, opinion on this party that seems fairly anti-immigrant. But yeah, I think I'm going to talk about something a little bit lighter today, although maybe in a kind of similar vein of me being a little bit annoyed, kind of complaining. So I'm sorry about that I'm kind of just complaining again on this episode. But yeah, I guess that's kind of all I have to say in the front matter. So my Instagram is Reilly Sullivan XD, Sota is Ego no Sota. So let's get into me complaining. Okay, so yeah, the other day I got a couple of phone calls at work, I forget the time, maybe 2 p.m. or something like that. And I mean, even if I'm at home, I usually don't answer the phone if it's a number I don't recognize. I kind of figure if it's important, they'll call me back or they'll contact me in a different way. So I was at work, and obviously I'm not going to answer the phone while I'm at work, so I didn't pick up. But the next day, also, while I was at work, I got another phone call from the same number. So I realized, okay, maybe this is important. They're trying to contact me. They've called me probably 3 times at that point. So I did answer, or rather I called back on my lunch break. And so it was from the bank, and the woman on the phone wanted to tell me that I needed to change my address, which, I don't know, I didn't exactly argue with her, but I was like, really? I moved 4 years ago, I'm pretty sure my address should be the same. And she's like, oh, is this your address? And it was my old address from over 4 years ago. So I could have sworn that I had changed it back then. I remember going to the bank and sitting there for a while and all that and trying to do some paperwork. But I guess maybe it was about something else, and I didn't actually change my address. So that's kind of my bad. It's definitely my bad. I'm pretty terrible about paperwork and staying on top of that kind of stuff. So that's my mistake. But she asked me if I could come into the bank to do the paperwork to change my address, which, okay, I've lived in Japan a while. I'm kind of used to this kind of thing. So I said, yeah, fine. When is the bank open? And she said it's open from 9 to 5. So, I don't know how that really works for most people, Luckily for me, my job starts at 10:30 or 11:30 sometimes. So I do have a little time in the morning to go to the bank. So I said, okay, I'll come in the morning. But for most people, who their jobs start at 9 o'clock or something like that, I don't understand how they go to the bank. I guess they're expected to take a day off work or a half day off work or something to go to the bank to get some, to do whatever you need to do at the bank, I guess. I don't know where I was going there. But yeah, so, okay, anyway, for me, luckily it works out. So I went there at 9 o'clock. And the bank branch that I had to go to was the original one where I made my account, right? For some reason, that's the rule, is that I made the account at this branch. So now anytime I do something kind of serious paperwork-wise, I guess, I need to go back to that branch. Now, luckily, Takamatsu is a fairly small city, and it's not too far away from where I live now. But I can't imagine if I had moved far away, an hour away or something like that. So then I have to change banks or something like that? I mean, maybe there is some paperwork where you can change your main branch or whatever they call it after you move. But anyway, so I went to the bank at about 9 a.m., picked a number, and talked to waited around for a bit, and then talked to someone. And she immediately just looking at me, I hadn't even said anything yet, and she goes, oh, are you here to change your address? So I don't know if she was the person that I talked to on the phone the day before, or if there was some kind of branch-wide announcement that there's going to be a foreigner coming into the bank in the morning. Please help him change his address or whatever. I really don't. I mean, I don't know. maybe that's something that could happen, but I thought it was kind of funny that she kind of already knew who I was. But anyway, then I did some paperwork. Actually, no, first I had to prove that I knew my PIN code. So she like came with me to the ATM, and I guess she didn't watch me put in my PIN, but she made sure that I could like, I don't know if log in is the correct word, I guess access. She made sure that I could access my bank using my PIN code and my bank card. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of weird that I had to go to the ATM to do that there wasn't a way to do that at like at the desk or whatever. But anyway, then we went back and I did some paperwork, changing my address and stuff. Or I did it on a tablet first. And that was quick. That took like 2 minutes. I just, typed in the new address on the tablet. And then she gave me some paper. And this one, there was a couple more things that I had to fill out. And one of them was my birthday. So I put 1994 kind of automatically, not realizing that I needed to change it. I needed to write Heisei Roku, I guess, Heisei 6. And so I did that mistake, and I was like, oh no, I scratched it out. And she said, oh, sorry, we need to do a new piece of paper. So she took that paper away, went back to wherever, and got the new paper where I had to do everything the same again, except write Heisei 6 instead of 1994, which, I mean, I think is kind of crazy. Like, I understand that I guess someone could scratch things out and change birth dates or what, I don't know, like, I guess there could be some kind of, I don't know, like, trick somebody does. I don't know how that would mean that that my bank gets, my bank account gets, not hacked, that's not the word, but whatever, like they can steal from me by doing that or whatever. So I don't really know how that works, but I guess for the purposes of security, they want there to be no kind of extra marks on the paper or whatever. But whatever, it's kind of annoying that I had to redo the whole thing. But I did it, it didn't take that long. It was only like 10 things I had to write on the paper. But yeah, I finished with that. And then I went back to sit down and waited some more. And the whole thing took like probably about 40 minutes. And then from getting there, getting to the bank, and then from leaving the bank, I guess. I was in the bank for 40 minutes, let's say. But also, it took me about 15 minutes to ride my bike there. And so, yeah, you could say it took about an hour all told, right? But anyway, at the end, they gave me my cards back, my like bank card and my number card. And then she said, like, oh, if you want to get PayPay in the future, or you want to do some kind of like online payment system, then you might need to come back to the bank to set that up. And I was kind of like, wait, what? I mean, the whole point of online pay, like PayPay or whatever, is kind of, it's more convenient. And she was just like, yeah, I don't know, something with your account, you might need to come back here if you want to do that. So I don't know, maybe in the future I'll be going back to the bank. But yeah, okay, then I left and I went to work and it was fine. But yeah, it took about an hour to do this thing that was just changing my address, that I think in America, and pretty much any other country I'd imagine, you can just do that online. Like, I could have done it in 5 minutes on the bank's website if it were an American bank. Like, when I was a college student, I was living in New York, right? And my bank was, it was a bigger bank in the like a national bank. But my main branch was obviously like back in Maryland near my mom's house. So if it worked the same as Japan, then every time I needed to do something at the bank, I would have to go home, like fly home to Maryland or whatever, and go into my bank branch. I mean, it's kind of crazy to me that that's how it works in Japan. I mean, I guess maybe in Japan, if you move, like if you go to university, you change your bank branch, like I said earlier, or maybe you just switch bank accounts entirely. I don't know. But it just seems pretty old-fashioned. And also, like, doing stuff on paper is really old-fashioned, I think, like doing actual paperwork on paper rather than doing it online, especially when I did it on a tablet first. Like I put in my new address on a tablet already, and then I still had to do paper. So it seems kind of weird. Like obviously they have the technology to do it, but still because of, I don't know, I don't want to say tradition, this traditional bank or whatever, but I don't know, because of what's the expression? Old habits die hard. Like it's hard to stop doing something that you've done for a long time. They still use paper. But yeah, I don't know. It was pretty annoying. Maybe I've talked about this on a podcast before, but like when Yuki and I registered our marriage at the city hall, she had to translate my birth certificate into Japanese. And the way she did it was by like making a copy of the birth certificate and kind of writing Japanese over top of all the English parts, which took a long time. There's like quite a few things on there, and some of them are kind of obscure words that I think Yuki probably had to look up and stuff like that. Oh, how do you say this in Japanese or whatever? And so she does all this and brings it in to the bank and shows them, and they say, oh, actually, we'd like you to write it on a blank piece of paper. So they gave her a blank piece of paper, and she had to kind of like copy the layout of my birth certificate so that it looked like, I don't know, so it looked like my birth certificate, you know, okay, my name is here, my mom's name is there, or whatever, my date of birth and all that. And she had to like organize it in the same way, but just on a blank sheet of paper in Japanese. And that took, I don't know, it took her probably 20, 30 minutes to do that. And it seems so insane that you can't just write on the birth certificate. And also that Yuki needs to be the one to translate it. I think that's also kind of crazy that the city office doesn't have someone on staff who can do that or whatever. I don't know. But I've probably talked about that before. And I've been complaining for too long now, I think. Overall, you know, I was in the bank took an hour out of my day, I guess, including the bike ride there. But it wasn't that bad. Everyone at the bank was nice and helpful. So even though I think the system is kind of old-fashioned and inconvenient, I think the way that they dealt with it, the way that the workers actually dealt with it, was nice and fine. And in the end, an hour out of my day isn't that big of a deal. You know, I'll survive. But yeah, I think that's about it. I kind of had this experience, and I thought it was a kind of uniquely Japanese thing. I don't know, maybe not uniquely. In other countries, maybe they still use paperwork and stuff like that, but I think certainly not so much in America. But I think I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. I this one probably it won't be as interesting as the Sanseito one, but yeah, I don't know. If you guys have other experiences doing bureaucratic stuff, going to the bank or going to City Hall or whatever, I guess let us know in the comments on the episode on Instagram. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.